Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. This is a project I started a little while ago, and its intent is obvious. I want to organize as much of my raw materials as possible. A lot of wood, and of course my PVC and acrylic, and well, pretty much anything that I need for building the projects I want. I want to get them all in one place. As you can see here by the marks, this is kind of wonky up there where the joists are. I mean, it's an old house, so I wanted to build, like I said, I wanted to make this nice and straight and even. So I took a break in the middle of this project to put together, well, the last video series you saw, which is the third hand / marking gauge. I don't think I'll ever really use the marking gauge part of it because I'm quite comfortable using a set square for that sort of thing. But it was easy enough to do both at the same time, and the third hand is going to come handy in this, well, sorry for the pun, in this project, because it's necessary that this is as level as possible, because a lot of material I'm going to be working with, or storing in this I should say, is going to be round, and I didn't really want to go to too much extra effort to put a lip around this to keep everything in place. A lot of it's going to be long, so the uprights will keep it there, but as you cut pieces they will get shorter, of course, and the remnants could easily roll off. And acrylic is fairly robust, and of course so is PVC, but I don't want them bouncing off the floor, so the third hand will make this a lot easier. You're actually not going to see it a whole lot because I don't really need it except for the lead ends, and I'll explain the reasons for that as we get up to there. So this is the first of the verticals I cut, and I kind of went back and forth on this a little bit because I initially cut these so I can screw them into the sides of those pieces I attached to the joist, because it's the easiest way to do this. But as you see here, I put this out and I just use the clamp to hold it in place. That is as close as I can get, and then I've leveled them out as far as the vertical, so they're as straight as possible. And you can see by turning them 90 degrees, I'm going to save 3.5 inches. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of distance, but I'm trying to keep, well, I have a small shop. I don't have a lot of space, so 3.5 inches of either extra storage space or not wasted space is a great idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut those verticals so that they will fit underneath the pieces that I have screwed in place on the joists. And then I'm going to make a series of small L brackets. I'm just going to cut up a bunch of small pieces of plywood, and I'm going to screw them together, and then of course pre-drill them and pre-countersink them so that I can just put them up in place and screw them in. And as you can see here, I'm using a piece of PVC as my protection for my hand. I really do need to make one of those. Maybe that'll be an upcoming project. A push stick or just something to hold things in place is a good idea. I mean, that works, but it is not something that's designed for it. So here I've done all the holes and the cutting and everything. As you can see, this piece here is going to attach there like that, and that leaves on the inside, you can see, 2 sets of holes. These are all pre-drilled and everything, and I just have to screw these all together and then put them up in place. It was a little bit of extra work, and whether or not it's worth it is up to the individual, I suppose. To me, it is saving me, well, the 3.5 inches. I can either use that 3.5 inches for extra storage, or of course, like I said, it's not space that's taken up that I can't move around my shop. So there you go, 1 done, 3 more to go, and then it's just a simple matter of getting these in place. Now, again, I wanted to hold them roughly in place while I set this up, so the easiest way of doing this was just to take a couple of strips of wood like this and just tap everything into place. The 2 pieces of wood on either side, just hold it where I need it to be. And then, because it's snug enough that I can just manipulate it around a little bit like this until I have it exactly where I want it. And then it's just a simple matter now of taking this with the screws already preset into it and just screwing it into place. I'm going to do the vertical first, because that way it's held where I want it to be. And then once that's done, I don't have to worry about if I did this part first, I could easily push it back against the wall. Because I'm trying to keep this as level as possible, remember. The verticals are not crucial, and these are just 2x4 studs, so they, well, they're not straight. You're going to see a couple times coming up here. They just simply have to be worked around. To get perfectly good 2x4s would be very expensive, if at all possible. I mean, I did spend a little bit of time at the big box wood store to try and get at least reasonably straight, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. The nice thing about wood is, as long as you compensate for the errors that are going to creep in, it's not too much of a big deal. So there's the first 3 done. I didn't bother showing you the next 2 because it's just a rinse and repeat process, and as you can see, there's no middle one in the front because I want to obviously be able to slide in and out any pieces that are going to fit in here. I don't want to have to always slide it in through the ends because, well, there's not a whole lot of space there. So this is the first of the verticals. This one is quite straightforward and easy to do. And as you can see, I found a use for all those stupid masks I had to buy during COVID. It's actually not bad dust masks. So if I'm doing an awful lot of sawing, I just wear one of those, and it works really well. I mean, I had to use them for something. Because like I said, I had to buy a box of them for work. I still actually have to wear some at some of the places I go into because they have still regulations for that sort of thing. So anyway, the first one is very straightforward. I just put in 1 screw, put a mark on there, obviously where to start it, and then just screw these all in place. Now, once the 2 verticals on the ends were done, I wanted to make sure that this was perfectly straight, because this one is a little bit different than the other 2. And so it's just a little bit of a tap to get it where it needs to be. Again, it's not horribly important, but might as well make it look nice while I'm doing this. So this is now in place, and all I need to do now is get to use this. Like I said, this is a little bit overkill for this, but it actually really did help. And I can see having uses for this as time goes on. I've done an awful lot of work for clients that I'm the only one doing it. So having something that I can hold in place without having to ask them to do stuff is always a great asset. So I'm clamping it on the right. You can't see that. And obviously what I've done here is I got a little over exaggerated raising that up, because I mean I could have started a lot more closer to level. But I want to show you the process. So all I'm doing now is lowering this gradually and then getting it to where I want it to be, nice and level, and then just turning the knob until it's in place, and then that's it. And this is the interesting part. You see, it's not an easy fit back there, and not having to squirm in there and try to hold 4 different things at the same time. It was a great benefit. I really did appreciate having that, even though it's a lot of work to put it together. I could have done it much more simply, of course, but why not? I mean, every now and then building a tool like that is kind of cool, especially something that I'll be able to use long term. So you can see here is there's a pipe on the floor, and the reason there's a pipe on the floor is a PVC 1.5 inch, and it runs from the fish room end of my shop all the way into the drain, and I had to make a little bit of allowances, as you can see here, for that pipe to go to where it needs to be. And I also, that joint you see at the base bottom there, that had to be glued in place and firmed up. So I had to make a little bit of a U there just to firm up that last bracket to hold it in place, the vertical, and of course to go around the pipe. It was very straightforward. So I want these shelves to go as close to the wall as possible. They can't get all the way there because, I mean, again, the wall's not perfectly straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these notches, and then I'm going to slot them in place because I want them to fit in fairly snugly. And I think I screwed 1 or 2 of them in place, but most of them just dropped right in, and that was all there was to it. Very straightforward to do this. And I got to use the coarse sanding block that I'd made. It was kind of nice because I only use this for 60 grit because 60 grit is a really coarse paper. It's like really thick, and that thing really works well for that. I don't use it at all for any of the other sanding papers. So there you go. This is a matter of wiggling this a little bit, orientating the right way first, and just sliding in and dropping it in. And I think it was snug enough that it needed a little bit of a tap down to get it where it needs to be. There you go. And that's it. This one doesn't need screwing at all. And of course, the rest of them are going to go in. I'm not going to bother showing you those. It was very straightforward to do. And there you go. That's it. The bottom is 2 pieces, and the other shelves as well. Actually, I don't even think I have installed the top shelf yet. Nope, there you go. And the last clip, of course, is going to be the thing fully loaded. And it was so nice to get all that material in one place. There you go. That's my new supply storage rack. Thank you very much for watching. Leave comments. Let me know what you think of all this. And like I said, very happy to have this done. Unfortunately, it doesn't hold everything that I want it to hold. I just seem to keep getting more supplies, but there you go. It is holding a lot of stuff. Again, thank you much for watching. Leave comments. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.